Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where we are currently working on primarily our finances here. And we are just going to take forward and chill for a bit here. We've got some infamy that we can let drop off, but mostly we're waiting on our finances to get better. That's the primary thing here. Now, we're working on law enforcement here, local police force to be precise. We're downgrading from dedicated police force to boost up the opinion of the gentry, which in this, for the Russians are called the Gentry Assembly. Okay. And we are then going to utilize that to get rid of serfdom. So obviously we can't do this currently, but we will be able to. Well, we're going to want to swap over to homesteading, and this should no longer radicalize the Gentry Assembly. It will merely make them angry. And that's okay. So we're going to definitely work on that. We just don't want to have to fight a revolution, right? That's the ideal scenario here, is no revolution. We're going to continue to work on these military shipyards. They're going to be done in 6 weeks. And then beyond that, our primary issue is that we require additional bureaucracy. Once we have our bureaucracy dealt with, we should switch around our finances. And we can see that our interest is currently higher than our deficit. So that's a really, really good sign there. That's an incredibly good sign. So that's fantastic. We're already on adoption for local police force as well. So that's looking absolutely great. Military shipyards will be done in just 2 weeks here. And our GDP is holding firm-ish. Our construction isn't great at this point, but that is to be expected for right now. Okay, minus 4.82, that's a pretty sizable improvement there. Minus 6.3, okay, fair enough on that. That all seems reasonably fine for the moment. So we now have the local police force. That does boost the Gentry Assembly's political strength, which is not ideal, but it does allow us to start going for homesteading here. We have a 12% chance to progress. The Gentry Assembly are going to oppose it, but they are not going to be radicalized by it. They're now unhappy, but we should be able to push through homesteading, at least with a little luck. So we'll see about getting that pushed through. Just getting off of serfdom is going to be huge. I do want to get a couple more government administrations done before we queue up anything else. We're not going to build all of these, obviously. There's a lot of government administrations queued up here. Hang on. Why is there a couple of logging camps down here? These must have been being worked on over here by the people that we annexed. Yeah, that explains it. Okay, I'm going to move this government administration down to here. And then we're just going to do something kind of like this. This is low construction efficiency, which isn't great, but I do want to get those done eventually, since there is progress on them already. So we can get started on it and kind of intersperse them this way, and that'll be reasonably fine-ish. Hopefully that construction efficiency will improve over time. But we'll see how that ends up going. Okay, so this government administration is finishing up as of this next week. That sounds great. That will produce us, in theory, a little bit more bureaucracy. In theory. However, we might want to think about building a government administration somewhere where we don't necessarily need it, but where there's a lot of job seekers. In fact, Moscow. We do need it in Moscow. We should move up Moscow government administrations. Where is Moscow? Is that you? Yes, that is you. Okay, so I'm going to move up these Moscow government administrations. These are quite important. And we are going to place those where exactly? Well, we're going to move up these that we already have some progress in. But the Moscow government administrations are going to be kind of the most important to get done, at least one of them. So I'm going to argue that we should do something kind of like this. Okay, let's get going on that. Fantastic. So we'll get the government administration in Smolensk done soon enough, since we're working on that. That'll be fine. Homesteading stalled. That is very unfortunate. We were hoping to have a little bit of good luck on that one. Yeah, minus 15% is grim. No doubt about that. So we were hoping for the debate, not the stall. We'll see what ends up happening with it. But that's definitely not a good start. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to give up on homestead. Wait, another stall? Oh, right. This is a setback for the stall. Good. We want that. That is actually very good. So that is fantastic that we get the setback there. And our government administration in Moscow is going to be done in 9 weeks, so that looks absolutely fine. We do have some of these other locations that are going to take a while due to the low construction efficiency, but I just want to get that out of the way. And our government administration in Moscow should get staffed up pretty effectively, so that will get rid of most of this bureaucracy deficit, which would be absolutely phenomenal. We'd be very, very happy about that. So now our chances are about the same. 12.8% chance of success, 34.7% chance of debate. We hope for one of those. It's another stall. Okay, we're going to cut through at least some of the red tape here, but it's going to be grim. Minus 5% bureaucracy is going to be painful for us. No doubt about that. This is going poorly thus far. We'll see if it gets any better. But we do need to get these government administrations in Moscow underway here, and we're going to have one in 3 weeks. So that's going to get us about back to where we were in our bureaucracy before we had the red tape. Unfortunately, it's going to slow things down a little bit, but we'll see how this ends up going. I'm just hoping that we can build up some decent success chance here. That's the overall goal. So there's our government administration in Moscow finishing up. That is a very big deal. Sardinia Piedmont is supporting Italian unification. Okay, so that put us at minus 185 for right now. That is noted. Paper is still expensive right now, but we're going to finish up a couple more government administrations fairly soon. The main question is, how is homesteading going to do here? And that's just pure RNG at this point. It's basically a 50-50, and we've had 2 failures so far. So, in theory, we should start to see at least a debate pretty soon, and we just need a little bit more to tip the odds in our favor. It's not much at all. Oh, wow. We're almost turning a profit right now. Amazing. And another stall. Absolutely amazing. We'll take another setback here, but that's gross. 3 stalls in a row at a 50% hit chance. I'm clearly thinking Rogue Tech here. To be honest, this feels like Rogue Tech. We have a 50% chance. Miss, 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 miss. Yeah, that's definitely what that feels like. It definitely feels like a 50% chance. Well, that's what? 3 in a row? 2 in a row? I think that was 3 stalls. No, we took 2 setbacks, so it would have been 2 stalls. We'll see what the next one looks like. But yeah, that's not going well thus far. No doubt about that. We're going to be turning a profit very, very soon here. I think that's very clear. We definitely need to. We need to start paying down that debt because there's a fair amount of money going into interest right now. Great Britain has sided with Prussia in a diplomatic play against Austria. Okay, and Egypt and France, yep. Okay, so that's turning into a pretty big war over here in Europe. That's okay. I'm not too concerned about that one. We're almost done with our constructions in Uzbekia, which is really, really good. Hey, look, a stall. Who could have ever seen that one coming? Yeah, I mean, it is technically the highest chance. But 3 stalls in a row is a lot of stalls in a row. No doubt about that. Are we going to give up on it? Not yet. Not yet. We're just at 0% right now. So we could potentially do something about that. Nope. We actually are forced to stop it entirely. Okay. So we were not able to pass that. We had to give up on it. There was no option there. The game literally forced us to give up on homesteading. We'll try tenant farmers. We'll see if we have better luck here. We have 13% success here, so that's a little bit higher. But it's the same stall odds. We'll just continue to roll this for right now. The Gentry Assembly are less upset about this, and that is because this land reform will keep them at plus 25% political strength. This is a stepping stone to homesteading at this point. If we can pass it. We'll see if we pass it. Market access in Moscow is at 98%. Okay, we definitely need to get railways There's no doubt about that. We're a ways away from getting railways researched, though. So that's okay for now. So at minus 158 bureaucracy, we are working on government administrations in Moscow, but we know that the infrastructure in Moscow is not ideal at this time. We can't build railways to improve infrastructure. Moscow is landlocked, so we can't build ports. So what other systems do we have to increase our infrastructure there? We could do a decree. So that would be a road maintenance decree. And I guess we'll do that. It's not ideal, but I guess it's okay. Over here, we definitely could build a port, and I think building a port here is not a bad idea. I'm going to queue that up at the top of our priority, and we'll get that done in 20 weeks. Looks good. So getting some amount of infrastructure there is what we're going after. Hey, Tenant Farmers has had a success as its first roll. That's an incredible sign, because that immediately jumps us over, okay, it didn't actually pull anything out of the stall percentage, but it did increase the success percentage over the debate percentage. So it's now about a 50-50 whether it's good or bad, and then it's a 50-50 on whether it's really good or just pretty good. So, I mean, it's progress, but it's not perfect. We'll see how that continues to roll. And of course, if we fail tenant farmers, we should be able to try homesteading again pretty soon. 21 months? Okay. Yeah, we'll see how that ends up going. So I still want to get our finances turned around here. No doubt about that. Getting this government administration in Moscow built will be pretty good. I want to check in on how our jobs here are doing. So let's see here. Where is our government administration here? Here it is. Okay, so this is currently full up in jobs. That is noted. And of course, paper is expensive, which is fully expected. So this next government administration in Moscow, in theory, okay, we gained a setback here. So that's fine. This government administration should, in theory, push us into positive bureaucracy. We'll see if it actually does. For the time being, I think we'll get started on this government administration in Moscow, but then we're going to need some iron mines, some tool production, and some paper production. So let's grab a paper mill in Moscow. Let's grab a, where are we? Tooling workshop in Saratov. And then let's put in a, what was the third one? Iron. It was iron. Let's put in an iron mine in Moscow. About like that. But I want to have this port as a priority, followed by this government administration, followed by the three of these. In theory, we should be positive in our bureaucracy at this point. So once this government administration finishes, it should be much less relevant. So that'll be great. Market access will get dealt with. And we're going to just work on a little bit of these expensive goods for our economic work. That'll be absolutely fine. So we'll see what ends up happening with our tenant farmers here. Fingers crossed that this is okay, that we managed to get through this. It's now a 53% stall chance. We just have to keep trying to brute force it, is what ends up happening here. But the fact that we can do this without getting the landed gentry all uppity is a big deal. A big deal. Which, of course, is a gentry assembly for Russia. Okay, we hit a stall again. Yikes. Yikes indeed. We can't take the gentry assembly approval hit, I don't think. Actually, we could. What is the rural folk approval at right now? Happy +5? Okay. People will work what they're worth. That stall is unfortunate for us, for sure, but it doesn't change the stall percentage, so that doesn't actually change our outcomes here. So this is fine for the moment. Our government administration in Moscow is going to be done in 7 weeks. That will put us positive in our bureaucracy. Unrealized taxes are still a big part of this, of course. And we're going to need to get our finances fully turned around very soon. Our interest payments are piling up. The question is, are we interested in... Oh, that's quite a pun. The question is, are we interested in pausing our construction? New political movement to enact poor laws has been founded. Okay. We'll keep an eye on that. I'm not necessarily opposed to enacting poor laws. I mean, that would cost us a lot of bureaucracy, but I'm not too concerned about bureaucracy right now. Bureaucracy is going to be solved very shortly. So for the moment, this will be fine. That should solve our bureaucracy problem right there. And yep, just like that, we are positive in bureaucracy. We hit another stall on the tenant farmers. We can take a setback here. And that's what we're going to do. That puts us back up to 23. It doesn't change our stall chance. So we had one success and then just stall after stall after stall, right? So unfortunately, it's looking like tenant farmers might not happen either. But if it doesn't happen, we can try serfdom again, or rather homesteading again in 15 months. So that is definitely a doable thing. We're very close to being positive financially. Mass communication has just been unlocked. That looks good. And once we finish up our iron mine here, we should, I think, be positive financially. Banking is spreading to us, which is pretty good, actually. That'll give us minting and reduction to our loan interest rate. So, I mean, we would gain like 2,000 from minting, and our loan interest rate would drop a little bit. Our interest rate isn't that high. We're positive right now, though, so we're starting to pay down our debt. Okay, now we're negative again. But we were positive briefly there, and just paying down our debt a little bit will get that snowball rolling, and we'll start to be able to utilize this interest money, which would be absolutely great. So we'll see if this ends up changing on us, but for right now, this'll do. Hey, law debate success. So that boosts us up to a 33% success chance. Unfortunately, that came from the debate, not from the stall. Now, the way that that's calculated is the stall comes from the clout of the people who are opposed to this, which is the Gentry Assembly. The Gentry Assembly's clout is not going to change, right? So we just need to get a little bit lucky here to push this through, is what this ends up meaning. We'll see how it goes, but it's not going fantastically well. It's going better than the homesteading did, though. So we'll see. We'll see. We're going to finish up these tooling workshops in 9 weeks and the paper mills in 18 weeks. I expect by the time the paper mills are done that we will be consistently positive financially. We're very, very close here, and that looks solid. We definitely want to start turning a profit here, and I'm doing it specifically without raising taxes. We do have some consumption taxes in here. I suppose we could put in a consumption tax on wine. That would be reasonably okay at this point. So we can get that put in, and that'll put us consistently positive right now, which is great. That means that we can start paying down our debts. It's going to take a while to get that paid down at this rate, but that's just going to snowball and get better and better. Now, tenant farmers just progressed to consideration. That's pretty solid. That's definitely pretty solid. Our success chances are not going to be too much higher than they are right now. So we'll see how this ends up going. With a little bit of luck, we could roll 2 more 33% chances in a row and just have it pass straight through. That would be amazing and would be absolutely what we'd be interested in. Okay, so paper and iron are still expensive. We're building a paper mill right now, so I do want to get some iron mines going here. I'm going to queue up 2 in Moscow, and we're going to put the paper mill up top, and then we're going to intersperse kind of like this. That looks good for now. So we'll get that underway. Getting iron and paper costs reduced would be very good for us. We should also start thinking about fighting Latvia pretty soon. In fact, with all of the big players fighting each other, now would probably be a pretty decent time to do this. 26.2 infamy. But our infamy is kind of low right now, so we can definitely do this. Let's do a conquer state of Latvia. They will not accept this, so we're just going to force the diplomatic play. And I'm going to mobilize these lads and send them right on out there. Now that does put us slightly negative because war is expensive. But that's okay. I don't mind that. We're going to have this paper mill done in 6 weeks. It should turn around even while we're fighting this war. So that should be reasonably fine. This war won't be super expensive unless anybody joins in here. Denmark is leaning towards Latvia, but Estonia and Belarus are leaning towards our side. Okay, there's a duel going on here, and we should ban dueling, but the Gentry Assembly wouldn't like that. They're at neutral +2 right now. Who are these that are dueling? A general from the Gentry Assembly, and a politician from the rural folk. I'm gonna let them fight. The general died. That was the lesser odds. I like it. That was what we were going for, to be honest. So Belarus is offering us their support in exchange for us owing them an obligation. We don't need their support. A Greek obligation is expiring. They would not accept a customs union, even with the obligation. I doubt we're going to be too concerned about this. We might absolve the obligation. We're probably not able to really use this. So I'll just do that for now to make it go away. Sweden sided with Latvia. Okay, so that's not super shocking. I'm going to mobilize these guys, and we're going to send them up to the Swedish front. I was hoping that they wouldn't. These big guys, though, they're all currently fighting each other. Hey, we passed directly into adoption. All we need now is one more success roll here. So that's beautiful. Greece wants to enter a defensive pact. I'm going to decline that. I don't want to get sucked into their war. Belarus is offering us support in exchange for transferring our subject. No. Go away, Belarus. Get out of here. Okay, so we're working on these iron mines. Currently, artillery and groceries are expensive, presumably due to our mobilization. So I do want to get a food industry built, and that will go into Saratov. I also want to get an artillery foundry built, and that's going to go into Earl for now, since we'll get economy of scale there. Looks good. They really want this defensive pact, but I don't want to get sucked into a conflict with the Ottoman Empire at this time. I really don't want to get sucked into an Ottoman conflict for the moment. Okay, so we're going to get these constructed. That'll be reasonably fine for the moment. We do see a paper mill finishing up in our private constructions as well. So that'll be helpful on our paper costs. Wonderful. So currently, we can see that we have an advantage against Sweden. Do we want to toss anything in as war goals against Sweden? We could grab war reparations. And I'm going to do that. But beyond that, we can add in potentially additional war goals. I'm going to give this, it's paused for a couple days. I'm going to put this as close to the end as possible before we claim anything from Sweden. But I think that we probably will claim things from Sweden here. So this is at 76, 77, 78, 79, and now it's going to go into this on the next day. But if we add a war goal here, it will give the AI a little time to respond. It'll pause the escalation. But we can certainly do some conquer states here. Now, we're currently at 30 infamy. I'm going to argue that we should not go above 50. So that means that we can get 19.7 infamy. Okay. So we can add a war goal here of conquering a state. The best thing that we could do, we could get Gotland. I think we're going to go for Norland here. Well, if we do that, Gotland is the only other option, but I'm going to do it. So we're going to do Conquer State Gotland. And that's going to put us at 48.9 infamy. Okay, now this is paused for a few days. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Escalation is continuing, and we're now in the countdown to war, so no one else can join. Perfect. That looks ideal. Greece wants to enter into a trade agreement with us. That's okay. We'll accept that. Tenant farmers passed. Beautiful. That is absolutely great. So we're at least off of serfdom. That's only a stepping stone for us. We would absolutely like to move down to homesteading. We can't do that right now. There's not a lot of clout in the country endorsing that. The Gentry Assembly did just lose 25% political strength by doing this, though. So that's great. We're very happy about that. Beyond that, are there any other law changes we want to change? We could enact this poor law, which there is a political movement to do right now. The Gentry Assembly will not like that change, obviously. I'm not sure that we really want to do that right now. Why would we do that when we can just go for religious schools and at least have some education access? I think we go for religious schools here. So that looks good. Okay, our war is going to break out very, very shortly here, but it is time to put a cut in here. There's the war breaking out. And I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to fight Sweden and Latvia. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.